Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. First of all, welcome all the friends to participate in this Global Network Forum. My name is Li Ming, and coming from China Academy of Space Technology, and also member of IAA. Our forum, today's topic of our forum is about the China space stations. As we know, China has collaborated with the United Nations Office of Outer Space Affairs, OSA, on the opening and international cooperation of Chinese space stations. Scientists from other countries are welcome to conduct scientific experiments on board the China space stations. Astronauts from other countries can visit China space station. The next report will introduce the support capabilities of the Chinese space station for marine environment and space environment. Now let me introduce Mr. Yang Hong, the speaker of this forum. Professor Yang Hong is an academician of IAA, and is also now served as the chief designer of Chinese space station program. He was a deputy chief designer of Shenzhou 4, 5, and 6 manned spacecraft from 2002 and 2005, and the chief designer of Chinese Space Laboratory Tiangong 1 from 2006 and to 2011. He has made great contribution to the success of launch and on-orbit operation of Shenzhou spacecraft and the Tiangong Space Laboratories. In accordance with China Space Station Development Plan, we will build China Space Station safer and more reliable to create a comfortable managed environment and excellent scientific experiment conditions. Scientists from all countries are welcome to conduct scientific experiments on board the Chinese space stations, and astronauts and cosmonauts are also welcome to visit the space station. Just as said by China's ambassador to United Nations in Vienna, the China space station is not just for Chinese, but also for all the human beings. Although we didn't give the name international to our space stations. Now we welcome Mr. Yang Hong on the stage to give his speech. Okay.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to introduce the China Space Station to the all guests at the IAC 2018 in Bremen. My name is Yang Hong from the China Academy of Space Technology. In the following, I will introduce the resources of the China Space Station, the manned environment, and the space science experience. My introduction is divided into five parts. Introduction, manned environment, support system, the structure of scientific experiment support system, and resources and the capability of the payload interface. Finally, give the conclusions. First, we will introduce the cooperation between the China Space Station and the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs. 2 years ago, Vienna, the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs, and the China Manned Space Agency, CMSA, has agreed to work together to develop the space capability of United Nations member states will opportunity on board China Future Space Station. And this year, Vienna, the United Nations Office, UNASA, and the CMSA have invited applications from United Nations member states to conduct experiments on board China's Space Station, CSS. The Seminated the people, director of UNISA, is state-of-the-art space program, including the well-established manned space program. It's one of the most historic and technical advanced in the world. I appreciate China's partnership and support on this exciting initiative, and look forward to seeing a number of interesting applications from United Nations member states. China Ambassador Shi Zhongjun said the China Space Station belongs not only to China, but also to the world. It will be home that is inclusive and open to cooperation with all countries, a home of peace and goodwill, and home of the cooperation for mutual benefit. Though the CSS, we would like to build up a model of the sincere, mutual beneficial cooperation among countries in the peaceful exploration and the use of outer space. In this grant, we introduced the manned environment and the scientific experience resources of CSS. It's helpful to know the manned environment and experiments can be performed on CSS. Why should the human-built manned space station? When we look through the experience of the development of the Mir station and the International Space Station, one of the answers is to serve the scientific and the technical experiments. The manned space station can be used as a huge space laboratory, providing unique space environment, such as high vacuum, microgravity, and natural ionizing radiation, which cannot be easily achieved on the ground. It can support the platform to conduct experiments in the field of the biology, biotechnology, physical science, earth and space science. Now, next, this is the China Space Station. China Space Station, China Space Station is CSS, named Tiangong. The name Tiangong comes from the story of Chinese mythology. The story happens in a beautiful palace in the space, so-called Tiangong. Means the palace in space. I like this name. The CSS is composed of the three models. Core model. This is core model. Experiment model 1, experiment model 2, informing the horizontally symmetrical T-shaped structure. The CSS has the 3 docking sites, enabled docking and berth of Shenzhou manned spacecraft and the Tianzhou cargo vehicle and the other vehicle. This is the core module. The core module serving as the manager and control center of the station, provide docking and berthing interface for EM1 and EM2, Shenzhou and Tianzhou to assemble to the station, support long-term visit of crew members, facilitated by a large robotic arm. This is the robotic arm. Support EVA. This is EM1 and EM2. EM1 has an airlock model for EVA. A special robotic arm is the small robotic arm to support the experiments. Small-scale adapter for export payload of scientific application and experiment. The EM2 has an automatic scientific airlock for equipment, only for equipment. Large-scale adapters for exposed payload. This is the system architecture. Orbital inclination from 42 to 43. Orbital altitude from the 340 to 450 kilometers. Lifetime, about 10 years. Crew members, 3. And 6 for short term. And weight is about 17 tons, the basic ship. If you add 2 Shenzhou spaceship and the Tianzhou cargo spacecraft, the total weight will reach near the 100 tons. It will be expanded to 180 tons in the future. Okay. It can support various scientific experiment equipment in and out of the cabin. The total power generation capacity is the 27 kilowatt. The biggest figure of the Chinese space station is that it provides the maximum support for space science experiments and the constraints of the limited weight and scale conditions. During the orbit to operate, the operator cost is also be effectively reduced. Less to say, CSS doesn't aim for the total scale, but focus on low cost and high efficiency. I think this is very important for the long-term operation of the space station. The main characteristics of the manned environment: cabin pressure, atmospheric condition, temperature, humidity, flow speed, acoustic noise. Future model extension. Model can be extended, and then the extension of in-carbon and export experiment platform can be obtained. The T-Cept basic configuration has reserved the interface for energy. Data, and control. So, the manned environment support for CSS is composed of 4 subsystems. One is the atmosphere control subsystem, the life support subsystem, noise protection subsystem, algorithm control subsystem. This is atmosphere controlled subsystem. Its task: maintain the total cabin pressure, monitor and control cabin air partial pressure, distribute cabin air between the connector module. And the life support system provides potable water for consumption, food preparation, and hygiene use, radiation and vibration control, and micro-organism control subsystem is the task. The task is the filter, particulate, and the microorganism in cabin. The key part is the regenerable technique. This is the atmosphere control and supply. This is the prototype the oxygen generation assembly. This is the CO2 removed assembly. This is the atmosphere revitalization. The tree contaminated control assembly. This is the temperature and the humidity control. It's closed temperature level controlled by each module separated. Humidity level controlled by space station concentratedly. Removes the atmosphere from the atmosphere by the condensing heat exchanger. This is the flow field simulation in space station. This is the water recovery and management. Include monitoring the water quality, supplying storage potable water, and processing, master water process, recovered from the urine and the humidity condensate, supplied water for payload. This is a water processor assembly. This is a urine processor assembly. The other conditions: acoustic noise level at most activities, location on CSS are close to 60 dBA, while the level in sleeping region are close to 50 dBA. Microgravity. The microgravity level on CSS range from the transient exposure of the 0.001 G to quasi-steady level below 1 million the man millions of the 1G. This is astronaut cooperation training. The two things was mentioned in particular. This is astronaut surveillance training, and the joint training of the Chinese astronaut and the European astronaut in China. The European astronaut is the Samasi Christopher and Matis Joseph. This is the training in China. This is training on the sea. Another thing, the China astronaut training underwater. Chinese astronaut has been training for EVA for CSS mission. This picture is the sense for underwater EVA experiments. In upper left corner is the core model of the CSS, and on the right is the astronaut. And follow the two pictures show the training of Chinese astronauts in the EVA activity with the help of the divers. Next, I will introduce the scheme of the experiment support system. The experiment support system serves payload with both the standard and special interface. Standard interface are the majority to provide the payload uniform interface on the mechanism, electrical power, communication, data handling, and thermal control. Special interface are the minority to provide the payload unique interface. Special interface will be designed due to the demand of payload. The payload on board CSS can be classified into the three categories. The Predator payload accommodated by payload rack. Standard exposed payload accommodated by payload adapter. Another, the three, special export payload accommodated by customer-made or extended interface. This is EM1. EM1 in the cabin. In the cabin, we support the pressurized payload support. Main is the payload rack and payload unit. And out, one is the standard. What is the standard export payload? And another special export payload. This is the pictures show the main mission cooperative test conducted on Tiangong 2 space laboratory. The Tiangong 2 has a small robotic arm. The robotic arm, the picture shows the catch the ball and fasten connector. A ripped coat, screen bolt. Now, pressurized payload The project payload is packed into the united model named the payload unit with different types. Resources can be obtained by payload unit from payload rack. Payload rack include the mechanical, the space for installation, electric power DC 100V or DC 28V. Communications is the series bus. Data handling about 100 Mbps at night. The thermal control, vibration, and the cold plate. And standard export payload, the basic accommodation of standard export payload is payload adapter, which provides standard uniform interface, mechanical, power, communication, data handling. Robotic arm can operate the payload automatically. It enables the assembly and disassembly of the export payload on or off the payload adapter automatically. The resources, the DC 100V. The communication, the series bus, data handling. The special export payload, accommodation of special export payload is custom-made or extended interface. One is the special export payload fixed on custom-made interface will be launched with the vehicle. Extended interface reserved on the vehicle can support special export payload assembly in orbit. The interface are available for special payload, mechanical, fixed on the vehicle or assembly in orbit, the power, communication, and data handling. Now, that's the summary. The main feature of the life and experiment support on CSS are concluded as follows. One is the manned environment is comfortable and suitable for long-term visit of crew members. Two is the use standard interface as the majority and special interface as the minority to support the payloads. The standard interface can be utilized repeatedly to improve the utilization efficiency of the system resource. The special interface are used for support several permanent special payloads to optimize the utilization of platform resources. And three, reserve the several custom-made or extended interface to accommodate special payload during the entire life cycle of space station. And four, the experiment resources on CSS can be shared through the international cooperation. The five, the possible technical approach for developing international cooperation. Releasing the international standard on the pressured payload interface requirement. Overseas the payload could be accepted in forms of payload unit, conducting experiment inside payload rack. Releasing international standard on export payload interface requirement. Overseas export payload could be installed on payload adapter robotically to conduct equipment. And thank you for your attention. I would like to answer your question. Thank you. Microphone.
Hello. Thank you for your very interesting presentation about this fantastic endeavor. Could you tell us when the station will be completed in the shape, in the format you just indicated?
Sorry, could you repeat your second?
When is the CSS will be deployed in space in the format you just indicated?
什么时候空间站发布正式的那个正式接口，欢迎各国来参与。
OK， 我们正在进行吧，就是我们正在进行中，也就是说不久就可以发布。
Now the government level has issued the official the collaboration level, and we will issue soon.
现在的设计已经完全都已经做好了。
The overall design has completed so far.
Thank you.
What we read in some specialized press is that the station would be deployed by 2022 or 2023. Is this have some sense?
为什么我们空间站的这个节点在2020年？这个是有什么特殊的原因吗？
这是根据中国载人航天的3步走计划，我们的第3步就是建造中国的空间站，所以按照计划的时间，我们就正好在2020年到2022年之间。
We built up the Chinese space station according to 3 steps. So according to the schedule of the 3 steps, by 2020, we will accomplish a preliminary Chinese space station scheme.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You did not mention the optical module of the Chinese space station. Is this still part of the plan? When will it be deployed? And will there be international cooperation with the optical module? Thank you.
Sorry, I can. Okay.
这个光学舱呢，是我们空间站的一个半飞舱。它将在中国空间站在2022年建成以后再行发射。
半飞舱就 fly by。
就是说，它是肯定要在中国空间站建成以后再发射光学舱。
So the optical module is the accompanying module of the Chinese space station. So by 2020, after we establish the Chinese space station, and then we will extend the optical module.
可以很肯定的说，是在2022年以后。
So we can see that we could send the optical module after 2020.
Thank you.
2022.
Okay, thank you. One more question. There will be an extension of the Chinese space station that is planned later on to 160 or 180 tons. Can you mention any details to this?
刚才您提到整个空间站最终的重量可以达到160到180吨，能进一步解释吗？
可以。中国空间站呢，基本构型是3个舱。
So, the layout of the overall Chinese space station, there are 3 modules.
如果加上神舟飞船和天舟货运飞船，将近100吨。
If we combine Shenzhou, the manned spaceship, and also the Tianzhou cargo spaceship, they can reach to 100
但
tons.
是我们还预留了扩展的能力和接口。
But we also have the additional, the extension, the weight.
还可以至少扩展3个舱。
So we have the capability to extend 3 more modules.
所以我们的中国空间站的设计能力可以支持到160吨到180吨。
So therefore, we can extend the weight of the manned spaceship till to 160 to 180 tons altogether.
Thank you.
Yes, hi. If you compare your space station to, let's say, the ISS, in what way would you say is this an upgrade? What are the most important differences?
如果中国空间站与国际空间站做对比的话，您觉着显著的不同有哪些？
Apart from the fact, obviously, that there will be Chinese astronauts aboard.
除了宇航员的数量。
好，有这样几个方面。首先呢，中国空间站呢，它所追求的目标，不在于有大的吨位和大的规模，而是追求它较低的成本和对科学实验的支持能力的最大化。
So we can explain in several aspects. The first of all, maybe we can talk about the objective of the space station. So we do not compare the biggest or the big and the small, but we can use the suitable weight to realize the maximum objectives, can conduct more scientific experiments.
So that means there's more place for scientific experiments on your space station? That's the idea?
在空间站已经有做这个科学实验的设置了吗？这样。
我刚才所做的报告，就是讲述的，就是中国空间站对科学实验的支持能力。 这里头包括有舱内的，有舱外的。我们的支持的，我们可以开展的科学实验的能力，在总重量当中的话，这个比率是比较高的。
So just now in my presentation, I have mentioned about we have the good capability to support the scientific experiments on Chinese space station. And the portion to do the scientific experiment is quite high.
Thank you.
Is Shenzhou will be the main spaceship to transport astronauts to China's space station? And what about new generation space vehicle tested 2 years ago with CZ7?
关于神舟的载人能力，就是能谈一下，就是3到6人的这个规模，3的最多是到6个人。
就是目前中国的神舟飞船，现在目前的标准乘员就是3人。
So the standard, for the Shenzhou can carry on 3 astronauts.
在中国空间站建成的时候，神舟飞船就负责天地之间运送航天员。
So after the completion of the Chinese space station and the Shenzhou as the manned spaceship to carry on the astronauts come and forth.
我们每一组航天员是有3名在空间站上生活和工作。
So in every crew of the Chinese space station, normally we will send 3 astronauts into orbit, work and live on Chinese space station.
在乘组轮换的时候，另一艘神舟飞船发射上天对接，这个时候的人数可以达到6人。
And then another 3 astronauts will take over the task of the onboard, the 3 astronauts crew. So that's why in maximum, that will be the 6 astronauts in total.
目前神舟飞船是作为中国空间站的天地往返的运输工具。
Shenzhou so far as the transportation vehicle between the ground to the space station.
Thank you.
In order to improve the international reception and cooperation with the rest of the world, will it be possible for international journalists to attend the launch of the Chinese space station in Wenchang?
关于中国空间站的国际合作部分，这个我们是欢迎世界所有的都参与吗？
是的，这样，我们通过联合国外公司，这已经向联合国提交了意向书。这个请我们那个艾米牛给回答一下。
没听清楚。
你回答一下，怎么说？这肯定是欢迎，就是我们非常欢迎。这样，因为中国空间站是开放的，所以在中国空间站在发射的时候，也欢迎各位朋友去参观。
Because the Chinese space station is open to the international world, so that's why we will welcome the press people to release the press at the launching site of Wenchang.
Thank you.
Any question?
那您总结一下。
完了，我就替李院长把结束词我就说完了。
好。在上面。
没有人举手了吧？有。
Hello, thanks for the great talk. Is your space station compatible with other modules if you wanted to cooperate in the future with other countries that would supply a module, for example, for the space station?
要不然您来。
就是现在呢，我们还有很多的这个，你可能就是正如你所知道的啊，这些接口的标准的国际化还正在研究当中。
Now we are doing the research on the collaboration, the interface to our Chinese space station.
比如说对接机构，就是比如说这 RVD。
For example, the RVD about the interface.
然后机械接口 mechanical interface.
Mechanical interface, etc.
目前正在制定国际上的一些标准。
So we are doing the international standard, collaboration standard.
一旦这个通用接口问题解决了，我相信会有不同的长短可以对接到一起。
So once these interface have resolved, we can do the collaboration very smoothly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any question? Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you for your interest in CSS. In accordance with the China Space Station Development Plan, we will build CSS the safer and more reliable, create a comfortable manned environment, and excellent scientific experimental conditions. Scientists from the old country are welcome to conduct scientific experiments on the CSS. And also, national other countries, the astronauts are welcome to visit the CSS, just as China's ambassador to the United Nations in Vienna said. The China Space Station is not only China, but also the world. See you. I would like to see you in China Space Station. Thank you for your attention. Thank you. Thank you very much.